What powered the mighty Roman Empire? Not pizza, not pasta. The real fuel behind Rome's rise lies in its surprisingly nutritious cuisine, a world steeped in flavor and history. From hardened legionaries to bustling street vendors, the humble diet of ancient Romans reveals a culture rich in both sustenance and imagine pools, the porridge that built an empire. Made from farro, an ancient grain boiled in water and salted, pools formed the backbone of early Roman diets. Simple, filling, and easy to prepare, this humble dish was the original food of the Roman people. Picture oatmeal or polenta. Over time, pools evolved. The poorer citizens added whatever scraps they had, onions, herbs, or a piece of cheese. Meanwhile, the wealthy transformed it into a risotto-like dish, incorporating meats and vegetables. At its core, pools represented peasant food, practical and portable. Perfect bread was everywhere in ancient Rome, a staple that spoke volumes about social status. The poor consumed panis plebeius, a coarse, dark bread made from whole or mixed grains. In contrast, the affluent indulged in panis candidus, a refined white bread crafted from fine sifted flour. Rome loved bread, boasting over 300 bakeries at the height of its glory. Grain distribution to citizens was managed through a welfare program known as annona. In many ways, bread was not merely sustenance but a political tool. Forget protein shakes. Roman soldiers fueled their campaigns with lentils and chickpeas, packed with nutrients and easy to store. These legumes were boiled into stews or mashed into spreads, forming daily staples for both farmers and foot soldiers. Lentils and chickpeas provided energy and a much-needed break from grain-heavy meals. The Roman army thrived on a simple pantry, as evidenced by letters and inventory lists from Hadrian's Wall. Soldiers consumed lentils, hard cheese, dried fruits, and a dry, unleavened bread reminiscent of modern hardtack, washed down with watered wine. Survival food. When envisioning Roman food, feasts, grapes, and togas might come to mind, but the true stars of the Roman pantry were three essential liquids: olive oil, wine, and a spicy concoction called Olive oil was more than just a cooking ingredient. It was civilization in a bottle. Used for cooking, skin care, religious rituals, and lighting homes, a good amphora of oil meant warmth in winter, nourishment at the table, and cleanliness after a public bath. It softened skin, fried vegetables, anointed the dead, and fueled household lamps. Roman philosopher Pliny the Elder hailed it as the greatest necessity of life. It was no wonder they referred to it. Wine flowed throughout Rome, consumed by men, women, and even children, but never straight. To drink undiluted wine was deemed barbaric. It was mixed with water, honey, herbs, and even seawater. Wealthy Romans showcased their tastes with rare blends from Greece or Gaul, while the poor settled for sour wine watered down to create a drink called puska. One soldier even requested warmer socks and a fresh shipment of wine, illustrating the comforts sought even on the frontier. Wine served as social glue, facilitating deals, toasts to the gods, and poetic musings on love and death. It even became a remedy: add herbs and honey. After indulging in the grand baths, patrons enjoyed quick bites from popani, the ancient version of fast food. These establishments offered cheap wine, bread, and sizzling sausages on skewers. In Pompeii, archaeologists uncovered a stunning fresco of a sausage cellar, confirming that hot links were just as cherished. For those craving a more potent experience, there was canditum. This spiced wine was an ancient cocktail made with honey, pepper, dates, laurel, saffron, and mastic resin, fermented over years. The result was a sweet, rich, and complex drink, akin to mulled wine but with a bold twist. Some recipes for canditum paradoxum have survived, embodying the strange and decadent flavors adored by Romans. Served warm at winter banquets and during sacred ceremonies, olive oil, wine, and canditum became the lifeblood of Roman identity, transcending class lines from campfire. Behind nearly every dish in ancient Rome, from humble stews to opulent banquets, lay a secret weapon: fermented fish sauce known as garum. Made by layering fish guts and salt, sun-baked until fermented, this golden brown sauce burst with umami flavor, pungent, salty, and complex. Used on meat, fish, vegetables, and even fruit, garum was a culinary staple. Some recipes even called for garum in wine, a pairing that may sound odd but has its roots in modern culinary practices. Garum was not merely a condiment, it was an industry, a trade good, and a cultural icon. Shipped across the empire, the finest varieties were marked specifically for emperors. Factories dedicated to garum production flourished along the coasts, especially in fish-abundant areas. Pompeii, before its tragic fate, was a hub of garum production, thriving on fish guts. Elite Romans flaunted their tastes with rare blends, while cooks treated garum like we treat soy sauce, adding depth. For the Romans, garum represented more than food. It embodied trade, prestige, and identity. A bottle of garum signified belonging to civilization. Among the wealthy, food was more than sustenance, it was performance. A feast was not only about what was served, but how it was presented. Delicacies like dormice, tiny rodents stuffed with herbs and nuts, glazed with honey, were status symbols. Serving them indicated that a meal was more than food, it was an event. Boiled pig udders, salted snails fattened on milk, and fresh oysters cracked open on demand further exemplified the extravagant tastes of the elite. The stranger the food, the higher the bragging rights. The piece de resistance was the Trojan pig, a whole pig deboned and stuffed with sausages, fruits, and spices, sometimes even smaller live animals. When carved, the stuffing spilled forth, doves taking flight, a culinary spectacle echoing the myth of the Trojan horse. These meals were not just dinners. The surviving recipes from the cookbook of Apicius reveal the extravagance of this era. Flamingo tongue, rabbit fetuses in wine sauce, and even raw sea urchins. The Roman elites believed that feasts were the ultimate display of power. Serving the rarest and most unusual foods established influence and taste, writers like Seneca ridiculed the obsession with luxury, noting men who vomited mid-feast just to continue eating. Satirist Juvenal labeled elite banquets as orgies of the absurd. Yet the rich persisted, each new dinner becoming a contest of culinary. Among these indulgences, cheese stood as one of Rome's unsung heroes. Fresh or smoked, goat or sheep, Roman cheese came in countless varieties. It was simple to make, easy to store, and a perfect food for farmers, merchants, and soldiers alike. Columella, Rome's renowned agricultural writer, provided detailed instructions on cheese making in his text, De Re Rustica. His recipes included everything from soft curds for immediate consumption to smoked and aged cheeses preserved. Massive alpine cheeses, so large they had to be rolled into town, were prized by affluent Romans craving flavors from distant frontiers. Pliny the Elder praised the rich diversity of regional cheeses, underscoring their importance in Roman culinary culture. He wrote about goat cheeses from Lagura, sheep's milk cheese from the Anines, and rich creamy curds from the countryside near Rome. Cheese was more than a staple, it was a versatile delight. Served with honey and fruit at lavish banquets, crumbled into grain porridge for breakfast, it transformed every meal. For the healers of the day, cheese became medicine, mixed with herbs to treat ailments from stomach aches to snake bites. But cheese also had a role in war. Roman soldiers marched with it in their packs, a high-calorie, portable food that could withstand the rigors of battle. Alongside hardtack, dried fruit, and wine, cheese sustained the legions, offering quick nourishment across vast distances. Sometimes it even served as the beauty of Roman cheese lay in its simplicity. Milk, rennet, thyme. From these humble elements emerged a nourishing food that reached every corner of the empire. From shepherds in the hills to generals in the field, cheese was a unifying force. Yet in ancient Rome, sugar as we know it did not exist. No candy bars or cakes adorned with frosting graced their tables. Still, the Romans possessed a sweet tooth, requiring more creativity to satisfy their cravings. Enter the date, originally a luxury imported from the East. Dates transitioned into a pantry staple cherished by all. Sticky, rich, and naturally sweet, they found their way into stews, sauces, desserts, and even medicinal concoctions. Ancient cookbooks like Apicius featured recipes for meats braised with dates and vinegar, creating a tangy glaze that dazzled the palate. Doctors recommended dates for easing digestion, sweetening bitter medicines, and combating fatigue. But dates were not alone in their quest for sweetness. The Romans leaned heavily on honey, drizzling it over nuts and fruits, baking it into pastries, and mixing it with herbs for preservation. Sweet treats were as much about texture as they were about flavor. Imagine honey-glazed hazelnuts, fig-stuffed buns, or grapes simmered into syrup. These were the desserts of ancient Rome, decadent and surprisingly modern. Then there was Malsum, Rome's answer to the dessert cocktail. A blend of wine and honey, Malsum graced the table at the start of a meal and sometimes returned after the last course, blurring lines between drink and dessert. Crafted from young, mildly fermented wine and just the right amount of honey, it was smooth, aromatic, and slightly intoxicating. Romans believed it aided digestion and added a touch of indulgence. In Rome, sweetness signaled refinement. It showcased the ability to import dates, the skill to bake honey cakes, or the taste to serve the perfect cup of Malsum. Yet sweetness was not reserved for the wealthy. In time, even the poor found ways to enjoy fruits and nuts sweetened with honey or grape must, embracing the pleasures within their reach. Bread and circuses, that phrase encapsulated Rome's political strategy. Feed the people, entertain them, and they won't revolt. Politicians literally bought loyalty by distributing grain and hosting grand spectacles. Food transcended mere sustenance. It became state-sponsored propaganda. To maintain this system, Rome controlled vast supply chains. Grain flowed in from Egypt, transforming it into the empire's breadbasket, with entire fleets safeguarding those shipments. A bad harvest in Alexandria could ignite riots in Rome. Yet it wasn't only about bread. Olive oil streamed in from Spain, garum from Gaul and North Africa, staples essential to daily life. The movement of these goods tied the empire together, creating a network where food became infrastructure. Roads, ports, storage facilities, and markets all worked in concert. Social status was reflected in food. The poor dined on pulses, while the rich savored flamingo tongues, sea urchins, and stuffed dormice. Dining turned into performance art. The couch you reclined on, the wine you drank, even whether you used hands or utensils, signified your place in society. A soldier on the frontier might eat dried figs and cheese, while a senator in Rome enjoyed elaborate multi-course meals. In conquered lands, Roman food culture spread alongside language and law. Emulating Roman dining customs became a means for elites to climb socially. Even in distant provinces, the adoption of Roman meals signaled allegiance to the empire. Ultimately, Rome was not merely built by legions, it was fed into existence. Food defined the empire, controlling, distributing, and shaping identities. From the wheat fields of Egypt to the olive presses of Hispania, the empire flourished on what it fed and who it fed. Because in Rome, food was not just sustenance, it was identity.